Hey everyone, this is Tim at the editing desk. This episode was the first episode that we've recorded all together for a while, as you know, so we were excited to have a consistent connection and be able to banter with our co-hosts. It ended up that we had too much fun between a few small parts, and I have had to edit down the episode to make sure that it is a professional-ish standard. Anytime you hear this sound, it means that I did my best to edit it to fit and maybe had a hard time doing so. I kept some of the best bits for the post-outro, so anyone who doesn't know that we do that, surprise, we sometimes add outtakes after the outro. I hope you enjoy the episode, and thank you again for listening.
Hey everybody, welcome to Creature Club. Welcome back for another episode of Dragons, to Dragons Part
7.
I was going to say 7 there. Yeah. I am one of your hosts, Mikey, and with me, as usual, is the Tim.
Hello.
And the Daniel.
Hello.
And we are a podcast where we talk about the Monsters and Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, and we go through the book, go through the stat block, talk about how we'd use the stat block in an encounter and in non-encounter and narrative for our games of D&D at home. Seeing as this is kind of like a part 7, I feel like I don't have to go too much more into it, but that's what we're about.
Indeed.
Yeah, I really hope this isn't someone's first episode.
Yeah, if it's, I suggest listening to the first episodes of Dragons before you go into this.
Yeah, at the very least.
Mikey, which dragon are we talking about?
The bronze dragon.
Oh,
I asked Mikey, Daniel.
Thanks, Mikey.
Did you?
Is your name
I'm
Mikey?
very sorry. I didn't know you said Mikey. I didn't hear you.
That's okay. But Daniel, what are we talking about?
We're talking about the bronze dragon, the coastal dragon.
We have to talk about this dragon at some point, guys. So what
Do we have to?
What is different about the bronze dragon?
Mikey, you didn't answer my question.
I didn't answer it, and I didn't even listen. I'm sorry. It came in one ear, went out the other one. I'm trying to do a show here, okay?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I'm sorry.
You're good, man. Order. This is what they know what we're about. They know what we're about. Mm-hmm. You said there it's kind of the coastal dragon. What makes the bronze dragon different from our other metallic dragons, or even just our dragons in general? What's up with this guy? What's its thing?
So the metallic dragon is in the same way that we haven't necessarily seen this yet. The bronze dragon is sort of a coastal dragon who's primarily interested in the ocean. We've had chromatic dragons who can swim and do have a swim speed. If I recall correctly, the green and black dragons have swim speeds.
Sounds right.
But they are both kind of, it's like swamps or, forest rivers. And in this case, we're actually dealing with the big wide ocean.
Yep.
And so this dragon lives on the coast and sort of preys on the coast and the sea that it can reach from its lair.
Okay. What a good boy. He keeps his own stuff safe and he watches after. Is he like a guardian of the coast in previous editions?
Well, the bronze dragon's always been a water-dwelling dragon. In the first edition, in the first monster manual, it describes that they prefer to dwell in subterranean layers near substantial bodies of water, such as lakes or seas. Even here, we actually see this is interesting. We don't often get this with AD&D. AD&D is kind of interested in giving you enemies to fight. But actually it says, despite their love of wealth, bronze dragons are basically of a beneficent nature. They often assume the form of some animal in order to observe the affairs of humans. So unlike a lot of the dragons here, they are basically, it says right here, lawful good. They are someone that maybe the party can come to rely on as an ally. In the second edition, we see much the same thing. Bronze dragons are inquisitive and fond of humans and demi-humans. So demi-humans is sort of second edition's way of saying elves, dwarves, hobbits, etc., etc. By third edition, they have basically nailed down the visual design. If you look at the third edition monster manual, the art, it's actually really good, by the way, but just the art is, the creature we see in third edition is almost identical to the creature we see in the fifth edition book. So by then they've got a very clear visual image of what the dragon is. I think I mentioned before that the third edition lore in all the monster manual books is like the same as the second edition lore. It's like a real sneaky thing. In the fourth edition book, which again, the metallic dragons don't actually show up in the monster manual. They show up instead in Dragonomicon 2 metallic dragons. And then it just describes that, again, what's interesting is we almost see a reversal of what we saw in the original monster manual, because it tries to almost in an opposite sense to AD&D, it tries to give you reasons to have to fight this thing, because the only reason it kind of gives you stat blocks is because you might have to fight these things, and if they're going to be things you fight, they should probably give the party a good reason to fight them. So unlike the previous sort of gregarious, friendly dragons we've experienced, here it says bronze dragons are orders, sworn servants. Bronze dragons can seem arrogant and haughty with an inflated sense of self, a tendency that can put them at odds with those they meet. In rare cases, this self-righteousness grows into something far more sinister, and the bronze dragon takes over what it sees as lesser races, ruling as a cruel tyrant that demands worship and subservience from its subjects.
Oh, wow. That's not very nice.
They basically get a heel turn in 4th edition. But I think, again, what we're seeing here is, I think the reasoning was, if we're giving you a book of dragons and we're giving them all stat blocks, we should probably give them a good reason for a party of probably good aligned adventurers to pick a fight with them.
Yeah. And I was going to ask there, we'll probably read it in the book when we're reading it, but does the bronze dragon have like a personality almost? As in, let's say the last one we did, what was it again? The brass dragon talks a lot.
The brass dragon, yeah.
Bit of a chatter.
Yeah.
The silver dragon likes hanging out with humanoids. What's the bronze dragon? What's kind of their thing? Do they have a thing, or do any of us know yet? Skimming over, it looks like it's like organized. It likes to be a little bit organized with stuff.
Yeah,
with its wealth.
They're interesting. It might almost be fair to say that they're probably they have a kind of a slightly inconsistent characterization in earlier editions, and that kind of levels out by the time we reach 5th edition. Because in the original editions, it talks about how they like to transform into animals, often like small, harmless animals, to observe humans and other creatures, just because they're very curious about the world and they take a deep interest in the affairs of mortals. But even by 2nd edition, it talks about how, like, it says they are fascinated by warfare and will eagerly join an army if its cause is just and the pay is good. And that kind of sentence there is what gets emphasized over the editions. By the time we reach 5th edition, bronze dragons are basically the kind of warrior dragon, almost like the good warrior dragon.
Okay,
Cool.
They're most likely to end up joining existing armies or navies, or agreeing some kind of military contract with a nearby power, perhaps like defending a part of their coast in return for some kind of payment. We often see that other dragons aren't really interested in negotiating with mortals because they find themselves above such things. But for whatever reason, a bronze dragon doesn't have that same pride, and actually kind of almost seems to relish the practicality of using their strength and power and making a bit of money off it.
Okay.
They're very mercenary mindset, it seems, then. So, like, I have the power that you guys need, so you have to pay me to be able to avail of my enormous power.
Yes, yeah. But it does try to emphasize as well that, like, even though they do fight for payment, they also won't join people whose goals they don't align with. So they wouldn't necessarily ally with evil, quote unquote evil, like D&D evil, not, lower E evil.
Yeah.
Like, they wouldn't necessarily join with that because they might find that those, but like, if they can agree with, a person who they think has a similar perspective, or even whose perspective is less relevant because of the nature of the work they're doing.
Maybe... No, I'll save it for the last section.
Save it for later.
Save it for the idea section.
Maybe... No, I won't say it. I can't.
It's not yet.
If I was a sculptor, but then again, no.
Calm down, war child. Shall we read what the 5th edition Monster Manual has to say about the bronze dragons?
Let's do.
Yeah, sounds great.
I'll start us off. Bronze dragons are coastal dwellers that feed primarily on aquatic plants and fish. They take the forms of friendly animals to observe other creatures of interest. They are also fascinated by warfare and eagerly join armies fighting for a just cause. So what Daniel was talking about there.
Yeah, I think that's actually the exact same line. They are fascinated by warfare and will eagerly join an army if the... Oh, there's one addition. It says they're also fascinated by warfare and eagerly join armies fighting for a just cause. The 2nd edition book says they are fascinated by warfare and will eagerly join an army if the cause is just and the pay is good.
Can I copy your homework? Yeah, just don't make copies. A ribbed, fluttered crest defines the shape of a bronze dragon's head. Curving horns extend out of the crest, echoed by spines on its lower jaw and chin. To help them swim, bronze dragons have webbed feet and smooth scales. A bronze wormling's scales are yellow-tinged and green. Only when the dragon approaches adulthood does its color deepen to a darker, rich bronze tone. The pupils of a bronze dragon's eyes fade as a dragon ages until they resemble glowing green orbs. I went proper RTE there at some point, I think. I was like...
There was
a
the
bronze...
glowing green orbs had a real RTE energy to it.
A bronze wormling's scales are yellow tinged with green. Only the dragon approaches adulthood does its color deepen to a darker, rich bronze tone.
Back to you, Marion.
Mikey DC, RT News.
Yes. Nice, Tim.
Perfect.
Yeah. So once again, some great imagery there. Some great,
gorgeous.
Some great descriptions there of the dragon, of like what it's like when it's a wormling and what it's like when it grows up. We got it pretty much describing what we got there as the picture of the lovely bronze dragon we have there.
Yeah.
Also, it has like webbed feet. This is cool. Because it's amphibious and it could swim, so that could probably help it out.
Yeah, swimming. The next section is called Dragons of the Coast. Bronze dragons love to watch ships traveling up and down the coastlines near their lairs, sometimes taking the forms of dolphins or seagulls to inspect those ships and their crews more closely. A daring bronze dragon might slip aboard a ship in the guise of a bird or rat, inspecting the hold for treasure. If the dragon finds a worthy addition to its hoard, it barters with the ship's captain for the item. That's interesting. A bit of fun. Yeah, I love that. I like that they've really incorporated the transforming aspect of the dragons, but I also feel like making them transform makes them a lot more inquisitive and less like looming, but maybe that's part of the idea. I'm just working this through in my head as I'm talking, essentially.
Yeah, but there's a lot of media where dragons are disguised as stuff. Dragons can just transform. That's kind of a thing that's been a dragon thing for a while. There's a lot of stories where dragons are disguised as either humans or animals and stuff, you know?
And they'll fight in their form just because they don't want to pay the special effects. They want to pay an actor.
Yeah, exactly.
Sensible.
Well, that's cool. I like that. I like the like transforming to like show that they are interested in human society or humanoid society, so that they can present themselves as non-threatening. They're just kind of inspecting and like curious a lot of the time, especially for the metallic ones, because I don't think we got much transforming with the chromatic dragons, because that was more
none
for
of them can transform.
or if they did, it was to like stalk their prey or something. But having the metallic dragons have transforming be part of their like consistent idea separates them from the chromatics, who are all about like showing off their presence and like being this big powerful creature in every circumstance that they want to talk or interact with humanoid society. It's a nice separation that they have there.
War machines. Bronze dragons actively oppose tyranny, and many bronze dragons yearn to test their mettle by putting their size and strength to good use. When conflict unfolds near its lair, a bronze dragon ascertains the underlying cause and offers its services to any side that fights for good. Once a bronze dragon commits to a cause, it remains a staunch ally.
Consistent.
And well-organized wealth. Bronze dragons loot sunken ships and also collect colorful coral and pearls from the reefs and seabeds near their lairs. When a bronze dragon pledges to help an army wage war against tyranny, it asks for nominal payment. If such a request is beyond its allies' means, it might settle for a collection of old books on military history or a ceremonial item commemorating the alliance. A bronze dragon might also lay claim to a treasure held by the enemy that it feels would be safer under its protection. I like that. It's it likes wealth that is taken either from the war and battle from the enemy, or traded to them from its like allies, I guess.
Yeah. Or from the Boshan, but it does specifically mention sunken ships. So like it doesn't attack, crews. It sort of looks for things that are kind of lost or forgotten otherwise.
Yeah. And that's pretty cool.
It's interesting that it uses the term well-organized wealth and then actually makes no specific reference to how the bronze dragons organize their treasure. I mean, I think we can assume that the intention is that they have maybe, a deliberately very structured layer, because it sounds like they have lots of different kinds of things they like. But it's just interesting that it doesn't mention anywhere, that's all.
Yeah, like it doesn't separate gold and silver and copper or the like gems,
Yeah.
And it doesn't have like a cabinet where it keeps its nice prizes from these aforementioned ceremonial items or like commemorative pieces.
I like the idea of its lair being like made up out of sunken ships, and like in the like a cavern in a cave. I think it is going to be a cave, a bronze dragon's lair, just like partly made out of shipwrecks. I think that'll be pretty cool, pretty fun.
Yeah, like using them as scaffolding to like expand it and stuff like that. I think that'd be
and
cool.
he's like, this ship, this one looked pretty cool. I found this in the bottom of the ocean, and then he just the cool figureheads and stuff. Might be fun.
Yeah. And even if it is going to become a dungeon, that's pretty interesting that like the bronze dragons, actually, you know what? I will save this for part 3.
So many little teasers here.
Yeah, teasers.
Oh, there you go. Sneaky.
Speaking of saving it for part 3, shall we just jump straight into the next part 2?
I believe so.
Let's do it.
Join Creature Club
Put
again.
both fists into the mist and potatoes. Mist and potatoes. What
The
is
mist
wrong with my
the mist and potatoes.
Yeah, Mr. Potatoes is the new Dark Souls. It's the new game from
Yeah.
FromSoft. It's the one set in Ireland.
The mist and potatoes. Yeah.
Mr. Potatoes is going to be set in sort of a heavily fictionalized version of the potato famine, and like you're going to, cut English landlords in half
Yeah,
or whatever.
can't wait for the Vati videos on that. It's good. It sounds good. Oh man! All right,
Excellent.
let's go.
Ancient Bronze Dragon, Gargantuan Dragon, Lawful Good. Armor class 22, natural armor. Hit points 444. Nice.
Nice.
24d4 plus 192. Sorry, 24d20 plus 194.
No, you were right.
24d4.
Let me just roll.
44.
124 D4.
Let me just roll 24 d20s right now.
Speed 40 foot, fly 80 foot, swim speed 40 foot. So it's faster than you in every way.
Yeah.
Strength 29, dexterity 10, wow. Constitution 27, intelligence 18, wisdom 17, charisma 21.
Dex dump
That
stat.
is some low dex.
Yeah, it is a gargantuan creature though, so maybe it's not very dexterous.
Yeah, that's fair.
And it's just raw muscle, it looks like.
Wow.
He's just strapped.
Maybe that's because he's like kind of the war machine, hoorah, Marine Corps kind of
Oh
guy.
yeah, that's
maybe.
true. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was only going to say it's interesting that he has no dex mod because he is also a swimmer.
Yeah.
And like, swimming requires kind of a lot of body control and agility, and it's not really about strength. It's about like endurance and kind of proper movement, which would probably fall under dexterity.
Ancient bronze dragons are natural sprinters. Very dangerous over short distances.
That's true. And long distances, I think.
Yeah.
Saving throws. Dexterity plus 7. Oh, so it gets the saving throw.
Yeah.
Constitution 15. Wisdom 10. And charisma plus 12. So 4 out of 5 there again. Nice.
Yep.
Skills. Insight plus 10. Perception plus 17. Ooh. Stealth plus 7. It has damage immunity to lightning. It has blind sight up to 60 feet, dark vision up to 120 feet, and passive perception of 27. Languages, it speaks Common and Draconic, and the challenge rating is 22, which in my book is worth 41,000 experience points.
And in my book, it's worth 30,000 experience points.
Nice.
Here, let's use Tim's book as
Yeah.
You get more,
Pick up
you get
my
more
edition.
points for that.
well. I keep losing out on points because we keep using the wrong book.
So that's a grand old stat block there. The dexterity is a little bit of a shocker, as we said.
Yeah, it's
But everything else seems to be pretty well in line.
But the brass dragon is also plus 0 on the dex. The ancient white dragon is 10 as well. Red dragon is 10 as well.
Fair enough.
Have all the dragons
wow.
been? Oh no, the black dragon's 14.
Have we just been missing this?
It looks like most of the dragons we've done so far have been 10 dex, so I guess it's not anything different. We haven't been listening to the podcast, guys.
I think we just haven't been paying attention to the one sort of normal stat amongst all the very high stats.
I think so, yeah.
The unique skill that the bronze dragon has, by the way, is the insight plus 10. As we've mentioned before, all the dragons end up with perception and stealth. Perception for looking for rogues, stealth for trying to be rogues, even though they're the size of a fucking building. I don't know exactly what they're going to hide from. But so insight is their kind of unique skill, which given that they're supposed to kind of have an enjoyment of people and like take an interest in their affairs and who they are, and even like it mentions that they have an ability to negotiate, so in some ways that probably makes sense. And obviously, of course, they want to discern who they're working for and whether they're working with the right side.
They do have quite high intelligence and wisdom, which kind of lends itself to the fact that they're this big war machine, but they're also well read, basically. Like,
Yeah.
they'll take books as payment. He's
Well,
just a giant nerd, it seems like. He's like a buff nerd. He's like Joe Manganiello.
buff nerd. Well, it is a dragon as well. So
Yeah.
they are like they're very intelligent. So it makes sense that they would like knowledge because they just been around for so long.
Yeah,
They probably share quite a bit of the history. Maybe they even, like, if you're looking for an ancient tome, you can go to a bronze dragon who may have that book in their hoard or something, which would be kind of cool. And it would be well organized, as we discussed earlier. He'd have.
Yeah.
I wonder what library system he uses.
That's a great question, Tim.
Yeah.
I wonder would a dragon use, like, because they're so paranoid, would they use like an encoded system that only they understand?
That's fun. I like that.
Like they'd like almost like a mind palace, like they'd build their own system for how they organize things so that like no one else could navigate. You'd almost, that'd actually be kind of interesting if you did that in their horde, and then like the party have to make almost like a contested intelligence check to like understand what the dragon was doing.
Yeah, and if you're like, I want to find a book on pottery, and like it should be here. Wait, where's the pottery book? And then it takes forever for you to find the pottery book, and then you have to talk to him
die.
if you want to know.
Because you forgot to eat.
Yeah, you die because you don't eat because you're a D&D
You didn't
player.
say I eat rations, and that's that's a stupid idiot. Should have.
Have you eaten at all?
you
No. Do I have to? You died. You died.
All new characters. I wonder if an ancient bronze dragon, like, it's into books. So I wonder if something was written about the bronze dragon to ascertain its history and maybe try to work against whatever system it was trying to put in place. Would it read that book and then reorganize its stuff to specifically avoid whatever history has already been written about it?
I think that would depend on the character of the dragon.
And how much character you want to give your dragons in your setting.
Well, just like as in their pride might mean that they don't want to change, and that they enjoy the fact that they are infamous / famous, or they might be more pragmatic and just do something else.
Yeah. They might reward you for researching them by just letting you decipher their stuff. Cool. Nice.
Next.
So it has 2 abilities. It is amphibious, which means the dragon can breathe air and water. And it has legendary resistance, 3 per day. If the dragon fails a saving throw, it can choose to succeed instead, which is consistent.
Yep. And it has some actions, some attacks and whatnot.
Some attactions.
Ah, yeah. Multi-attack. The dragon can use its frightful presence. It makes 3 attacks, 1 with its bite and 2 with its claws. Bite, melee weapon attack, plus 16 to hit, reach 15, 1 target, and it hits with 20 average or 2d10 plus 9 piercing damage. A claw attack, that's a 16 to hit as well, but does 2d6 plus 9 slashing damage. And a tail attack is the same, but does 2d8 plus 9 bludgeoning damage. So bad hits there. Dan, would you like to read the next one?
Absolutely. You guys excited?
Every time.
Yeah.
Every time. Just the... It's good to clear your throat.
Yeah, making Dan read the frightful presence.
It's important. I have to make sure I get this right.
I have no idea what this ability does, guys, so I want to hear about it.
It's very important that you
Edge my seat.
enunciate, because I have no idea what this ability does. Frightful presence. Each creature of the dragon's choice that is within 120 feet of the dragon and aware of it must succeed on a DC 20 wisdom saving throw or become frightened for 1 minute. A creature can repeat the saving throw at the end of each of its turns, ending the effect on itself on a success. If a creature's saving throw is successful or the effect ends for it, the creature is immune to the dragon's frightful presence for the next 24 hours.
Amazing.
Wow.
This is all new information.
Yeah.
It says is within 120 feet of the dragon and aware of it.
Oh.
So I was just thinking about that. I wonder what that, because like, so in combat in D&D, right, like this is kind of a weird thing that like you technically always know where everyone is unless they specifically like hide, even if they're like around a wall or whatever. So like I wonder, like is that the rule here? Like is it combat rules where like if the dragon hasn't specifically hidden, then you know it's there. And if you haven't specifically hidden from the dragon, it knows you're there.
Also thinking about it, it's like a weird conditional magic. Like it's a frightful presence, but it makes you make a specific saving throw.
It's also in some ways not a presence because it's just an action.
Yeah.
A presence would probably be an aura around the dragon itself, or like a reaction that you have to take. Like every time you try to attack it, you have to roll against its frightful presence because it's scary.
What if you played a really drunk character who was just never aware of anything?
Well, That would only mean that, that would mean that you couldn't be affected by frightful presence if you were not aware of it. Also, presumably, because it doesn't specify a sense, you would have to be both blinded and deafened. Because it doesn't specifically say it's a roar, it's just a presence. So you would have to like put on a blindfold and plug your ears and not get frightful presence. I'm just thinking about the practicality. Like I'm literally thinking because obviously the intention is like it scares everyone around it that it wants to scare. And I'm thinking about like the context of like if it lands in like a village square and just roars and everyone has to make a save, and probably most people fail because a DC 20 wisdom saving throw is a difficult saving throw.
Pretty heroic.
And I was just thinking out loud, like, you know, because it says aware of it, like if you were just, I don't know, in a basement or something, would it just be like you're just not afraid because you just you just didn't realize that like there was a dragon out there or whatever.
Yeah, but it sounds like we've accidentally stumbled upon the perfect character counter to the frightful presence in dragons: a blind, deaf drunkard. We've done it, ladies and gentlemen.
I think you could just pay someone who's resistant or immune to becoming frightened instead. Like a paladin or something.
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough.
I'm going to do the next one. I get to do the fun one because I did frightful presence.
Yeah, fair. That's fair.
Breath weapons, recharge 5/6. The dragon uses one of its following breath weapons. The breath weapons, there are two of them. There is lightning breath and repulsion breath. Lightning breath is the dragon exhales lightning in a 120-foot line that is 10 feet wide. Each creature in that line must make a DC 23 dexterity saving throw, taking 88 or 16d10 lightning damage on a failed save, or half as much on a successful one.
My God, has the numbers always been that high?
Yeah, it had. They have. They've always been ludicrous. Wow. Like they've always been like, you don't have that many dice at the table.
No, give me your D10s.
I need everyone's D10s. Yeah. I need to kill you. Repulsion breath. The dragon exhales repulsion energy in a 30-foot cone. I don't know what repulsion energy is.
Ooh.
Each creature in that area must succeed on a DC 23 strength saving throw. Hey, a strength saving throw. That's fun.
Nice. Yeah.
On a failed save, the creature is pushed 60 feet away. Fucking hell. From the dragon. That's a big push. For those of you who are curious, in the original appearance of the bronze dragon in the monster manual, they have the same breaths.
Oh, cool.
Except it's a repulsion gas cloud rather than repulsion energy. But it says it works as the repulsion spell.
Funny that it's in a 30-foot cone, but it pushes them 60 feet away.
That is interesting, yeah.
I would have thought, like, if I was to write something like that, it would just push them to the edge of the 30-foot cone if they failed.
Yeah.
And like 30-foot cone is pretty small for a breath, although it is their secondary.
30-foot cones get really big really quickly, so like it's actually going to be a pretty significant part of the battlefield.
It's going to push them to the outside of their ability to like move up to it for most non like specifically mobile characters.
Yeah.
I do kind of like his repulsion breath just by looking at it here, because he's a good dragon and maybe he doesn't really want to brutally murder everyone. So if he comes across like a good hero, just like you shoot him with your repulsion breath and you're like, and you get knocked back and like it might hurt, but you don't actually, die or anything. But it can be like a tough attack on you, but it doesn't actually want to kill you. It just wants to subdue you,
Yeah. I think that's the idea for most of the metallic dragon's secondary breaths.
Yeah.
Like we have sleep breaths and paralysis and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which is handy.
You could also have it use, if they're in the dragon's lair, the dragon could use the breath on them and put them in an earlier part of the dungeon.
Yeah.
And they have to go through it again, which would be really funny.
Would be hilarious. And they have to do the exact same puzzles and backtrack.
Yeah, the dragon has relocked all the doors. Replaced all the small keys. Like
the answer's time, all right? I know the riddle already.
Time, I did this. Let me in. You didn't let me finish the riddle.
I'll fight these skeletons, all right? You're dead. All right, next room. Okay, next one is change shape. The dragon magically polymorphs into a humanoid or beast that has a challenge rating no higher than its own, or back into its true form. It reverts to its true form if it dies. Any equipment it is wearing or carrying is absorbed or borne by the new form, the dragon's choice. In a new form, the dragon retains its alignment, hit points, hit dice, ability to speak, proficiencies, legendary resistance, lair actions, and intelligence, wisdom, and charisma scores. A lot of ands there. I don't like it.
Yeah.
As well as this action. Its statistics and capabilities.
That's not an and. It's just
Jesus.
I swear to God, these D&D books can be very awkwardly written. Its statistics and capabilities are otherwise replaced by those of the new form, except any class features or legendary actions on that form. So you don't get to keep action surge, all right, if you're a fighter.
No.
So that specifies that it reverts to its true form if it dies. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that mean if it turns into a rabbit, it's a rabbit with 444 hit points, or
Yes.
if you kill a rabbit with 1 hit point, then it dies.
It retains its hit points.
Yeah.
So that is going to be a very, very powerful rabbit. It's a killer rabbit from Monty Python.
Yeah. Look at the bones.
Look at the bones.
That would be a funny little like aside. Like if your players are being just kind of a little bit chaotic and they're just like shooting off stuff, and you can say like, oh, you shoot a fireball into this like brush or whatever, just because people are a little bit chaotic. Then you can say there's just like this little white rabbit is just like sitting in the middle of it all, and then he scampers away, and they're like, what? Was that a magic rabbit?
What the
And
fuck?
then they'll either pay attention to it and follow it and maybe make friends with a bronze dragon, or they'll just be like, wow, magics.
Do you believe in magic?
This is a truly magic world.
It's truly a world of magic and wonder. Hero, let me show you a new strange world. Okay. Legendary actions. The dragon can take 3 legendary actions, choosing from the options below. Only 1 legendary action option can be used at a time, so don't even think about using another one, all right?
Don't even think about using 2.
Don't even think about it, all right? And
Tim?
only at the end
Sorry.
of another creature's turn. The dragon regains spent legendary actions at the start of its turn. So write down. It's very quick comedy going on right now. It's very quick improv. Detect makes a wisdom perception check. Tail attack does a tail attack. And wing attack. It costs 2 actions. The dragon beats its wings, flies up in the air, make a dex save, you get knocked down, and he's flying after that.
There you go.
We normally go through the layer actions and stuff, don't we?
I don't think we need to really talk about the downsizing, because it's pretty consistent across all of them
Yeah.
at this point.
Oh, yeah.
If you want to hear the downsizing of most dragons, you can check out our previous episodes and compare notes.
Basically, I won't go through the numbers, but Adult Dragon has all the abilities, just the numbers are a bit, like it's a huge instead of gargantuan, and the numbers are a bit lower. On term for like the attacks and hit points and stuff like that. Young Dragon has less abilities.
It's not legendary anymore. It doesn't have its tail, and it doesn't have frightful presence because it's too small. And then the Wormling is even smaller and just has bite and breath weapon.
That is my favorite Wormling art of all the Wormlings.
Oh, but yeah, it's good.
It's pretty great. Yeah, I love it a lot. The bronze wormling loses its one special skill that it has, the insight as well. It drops that.
Makes sense.
It is just a babby.
A wee Bobby.
Yeah, it hasn't learned how to read people yet.
Sure.
A bronze dragon's lair. A bronze dragon lairs in coastal caves. It might salvage a wrecked ship, reconstruct it within the confines of its lair, and use it as a treasure vault or nest for its eggs.
I did not read that beforehand, guys. So I'm
There you go.
There we go.
Wow.
Good man yourself.
Yeah,
Can you tell the future?
I can tell the future, guys. It's true.
Wow.
I can see the future.
Layer actions. On initiative count 20, losing initiative ties, the dragon takes a layer action to cause one of the following effects. The dragon creates fog as though it had cast the fog cloud spell. The fog lasts until initiative count 20 on the next round. A thunderclap originates at a point the dragon can see within 120 feet of it. Each creature within 20-foot radius centered on that point must make a DC 15 Constitution saving throw or take 5, a 1d10, thunder damage, and be deafened until the end of its next turn. Oh boy. So if I'm playing my perfect character counter to the to the frightful presence, he wouldn't be affected by that deafness, but he would probably take the damage. I wonder would he take
probably
the
still
damage? Yeah,
take
he
the
would
damage,
still
yeah.
take the damage. Yeah.
But also, you can't see or hear, so you'd have disadvantage
true,
on a
that's
lot of things.
Yeah. I don't know if it's a sort of a winning move.
Yeah.
Everybody
You do also
has
resist
their-
that fog cloud, though. So
That's true.
something.
That's true.
If you want him to be a perfect counter, I can give you you can make a regular character, and I can give you like a hat of non-frightening. So
I was going to say you could give him the belt of courage from Quest Boys because that's all that
Belt
did.
of courage,
Just gave
yeah,
you-
that's right.
I think it
Belt
just
of
gave you
courage.
advantage on saving throws against becoming frightened.
Excellent.
That's
Well-
literally like the only thing. I remember I gave it to you first to phone, and then Ira just took it, which was so funny.
thanks, that's mine.
Good job, Stefone. That's mine now.
Thank you very much. Excellent work, Squire. I'll be wearing this now.
Oh, that's belt.
Fuck's sake.
My pants are kind of a bit saggy right now, so I need a belt right now.
I lost a lot of weight from all this adventuring, so
All this light jogging. Regional effects. The region containing a legendary bronze dragon's lair is warped by the dragon's magic. You can, I think, what it's supposed to say then is that you can choose one of the following or all of the effects, but it doesn't matter because I'm just going to read them anyway. Once per day, the dragon can alter the weather in a 6-mile radius centered onto layer. The dragon doesn't need to be outdoors, otherwise the effect is identical to the control weather spell. Underwater plants within 6 miles of the dragon's lair take on dazzlingly brilliant hues, and within its lair, the dragon can set illusory sounds such as soft music and strange echoes so that they can be heard in various parts of the lair.
Cool.
Real
flavor.
gamut of like abilities there.
Yeah. This is
So,
very
like,
Magic Boy.
Illusory sounds are something I think you can do with thaumaturgy, which is like a cantrip. But then comparatively, I believe control weather is an 8th level spell. So like just interesting in terms of like, you know, one of these things is an 8th level spell, one of these things is a cantrip that the party may well have access to.
Yeah.
You could have a rock off with the bronze dragon. You can play your own music against his music.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a way that you can convince the bronze dragon that you are his friend, that you can like harmonize with his music or their music.
It is 8th level, by the way. I just checked.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
I'm picturing also maybe he has like whale sounds or something going through his game.
Yeah, that's true.
nice.
That'd be
Sounds
kind
of
of cool.
like
That's awesome.
of like sea creatures, you know, echoing through the
That's
halls.
very cool.
It's interesting to me that like this dragon gets the regional effect to change the weather, when that almost feels like something that maybe every dragon should have the ability to do to some extent.
Yeah.
At least like me personally, that's sort of something that I wonder, like if that isn't something that should be more present. I don't know like if there's any specific reason a bronze dragon should be able to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like a blue dragon should be able to do that too, where
Lightning Boy, yeah.
like with their lightning powers.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense. Like, yeah, because like they can, you know, create storms and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But yeah, no, I just a thought. Like, I just thought it was interesting. Like,
I wonder what their reasoning was behind that.
yeah, exactly. Because I mean, obviously, it might be as simple as in terms of coastal environments, the weather is deeply important. Because if you rely on the coast to do things, like if your community relies on fishing, the inability to go and fish because of the weather is obviously a massive problem. I will say, I just checked there, the blue dragon does have the regional effect. Thunderstorms rage within 6 miles of the lair.
Okay.
So there's a similar weather effect, but it's not. It's almost like the dragon can't control it. But because obviously a thunderstorm mostly produces lightning, and because the blue dragon, like the bronze dragon, is immune to lightning damage, it's not really a problem for them personally.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
So maybe that's where they came from, that they gave the blue dragon that ability, and then thought it made sense that maybe the brass dragon has kind of a lawful alternative to that.
If the dragon dies, change weather reverts to normal, as described in the spell, and other effects fade in 1d10 days. That's it.
There you go.
There it is.
That's all I can say, guys, about that.
I wonder would he make abnormal weather? Changed weather reverts to normal. So like would he make it like sunshine with like thunderclaps around the place or like something like that? I don't know. Just how that's worded made me obviously think as weirdly as I possibly could about it. Weather reverts to normal. So it is consistent with normal weather patterns in your world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Right. Well, that's that. That's everything written down on this guy. Shall we just go into the fan favorite dessert time? Welcome to Dessert Town. We don't make Matrix Room the Bronze Dragon, but if you want to know what happens, it's a big hunk of meat that shoots lightning at you, and you attack it, and it attacks you. Nothing much going on there, to be honest with you.
And given its challenge rating 22 and resists exactly 1 damage type, I think it will die in approximately 3 rounds.
Yeah.
Dang. When you're using characters of level 22.
Yeah, or even just more accurately, characters of level 20.
Yeah.
I mean, like, if a fighter attacks, say, 5 times, probably hits every time because of their, bonuses at that stage. They've got, like, +7 from proficiency, +5 from strength, so they're +12. So they just need to roll a 10 to actually hit the dragon. That's not even including a magic item. And then like assuming it's what like a D8 D10 weapon, that's approximately 5 plus another 5 from their strength, so 10 damage. So they deal 50 damage with one attack action
With one character.
And that's not even including the fact that they can action surge and do it again. Obviously, they've probably got other features that make them deal more damage because they're a fighter and that's their job.
Yeah.
And magic items that your DM has been very gracious to give you.
Yeah.
And that's one of the characters dealing like, more than a tenth of this creature's health in one turn.
Yeah.
So then you assume 4 party members, if they each do a little more than a tenth, about an eighth or whatever.
Yeah.
This thing's gone in
At that point,
3 rounds.
your D&D players have so much magical shit.
Even if they don't have magic items, they just have enough shit built up from like being a level 20 character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They probably got some mates as well in game that they can also, like, I can call in the favor with this army that I can call in for this fight,
Yeah. But yeah, so I think it's I think the dragon on its own doesn't do enough against a level 20 party to do anything.
I think I mentioned it before in one of the episodes, but a dragon fight is good, it's fun, it's iconic, but this dragon fight is the exact same as either a red dragon or a black dragon. It's all the same. It really is. It's just flavor, whatever kind of dragon you want to use, whatever kind of area you want to use it in.
Yeah, the base of the dragon is always going to be similar because they're basically big flying meat pools with a bit of damage attached.
Yeah.
And it's going to be more about how you play them and the scene you set them in.
Yeah.
And basically how much interactivity there is there.
And maybe and the lair actions would definitely be make it a lot different, and maybe giving it some spells too. It will make it unique as well.
I think its repulsion breath is probably its most interesting thing in combat because it'll push people away, so it has a little bit of like crowd control.
Yeah.
But if you have somebody that is like a high strength character, they'll be able to resist it, so they won't be pushed to 60 feet away, but everyone else who has been will be pushed away and they'll be isolated by themselves potentially. So he'll be able to push away the other guys and focus on the strength boy and maybe deal some damage there. So it's a little bit of fun crowd control, kind of manipulating the characters, making them do things they don't want to do. So maybe like pitfall traps or like acid pools or whatever you want to throw into a bronze dragon thing.
Yeah, I would like, if you're in like an underwater cavern and you're like fighting, in like an air pocket somewhere, I think you would like shoot the propulsion ray so you would like fall into the water again. So you just be in the water and maybe your characters aren't that good at swimming. So they're just like, crap, and they have to like swim back to the fight,
Or if they're wearing heavy armor.
Or it follows up with a lightning breath and,
you die.
Fries you.
Shock fries you all.
Fries you, yeah. But your characters are powerful. They, just like...
Oh yeah, and I mean, like you wouldn't die, just like it would be like a pretty cool wombo combo.
Yeah, that is fun. Yeah.
One of the following breath weapons.
Yeah.
If it gets it all.
Oh yeah, no, but I
if
mean, it
gets back
recharges
in
every turn. Or it has a chance every turn. So.
Right. Well,
Sweet.
That's the stat block on them. That's the kind of like how we use it in a fight. But I think how will we use bronze dragons? Does anyone have any ideas for a bronze dragon like adventure hook, or how would you put it into your world? What are we gonna do with that? What are we gonna do with this guy? Any ideas?
Well, Daniel and I had but what if moment.
That's true. Yeah, let's hear them.
I'll save it for later.
Yes.
Sort of thing.
Yeah. So my idea was when we referenced that they might be swayed by some other ideas. Like if you can convince a bronze dragon that your way is the way forward, you may be able to team up a bronze dragon with the team that is opposing your characters. So maybe not necessarily an ancient bronze dragon or something like that, which has phenomenal insight and ability to see into the hearts of men, essentially, because of all of their history. But maybe like a young bronze dragon or an adult bronze dragon may be able to be swayed to the other side. Like that is one way that you could convince the world to let your party fight a bronze dragon if that is your intention. But I think it's also like an interesting kind of hook to be able to, presumably you have other dragons in your setting and everybody knows that bronze dragons are of the metallic dragons. So the metallic dragons are typically the good guys. And so having them be opposed to your characters is a little bit of a, make your team do a double take and like, is that a bronze dragon? I thought they were the good guys. But I think that...
Are we the baddies?
Are we the baddies?
We must be the bad guys.
Oh no.
You know what every player says at some point, like, hold on.
Yeah.
Are we the villains right now?
Oh,
Wait a
no.
minute.
Nah, they just keep going.
No, it's just my friends are the bad guys. I'm the good guy.
I'm the good guy.
But yeah, that was kind of my idea. Being able to like manipulate them with a particularly canny bad guy. basically.
Yeah.
Before I go to my idea, I was just going to mention, before we talk about like adventures, just in terms of a fight with a bronze dragon, they're coastal enemies. So I think a really natural fight would be aboard a ship.
Yeah, I think so too.
Potentially, if you could sort of incorporate a landmass into the fight as well, that could be kind of interesting. Perhaps the ship is taking off from a nearby coastal island, and so maybe the dragon tries to beach the ship with its repulsion breath.
Yeah.
And you're trying to like get out of there and leave. Maybe there's something on the ship the dragon wants. Maybe someone has stolen something and you guys don't even realize, and as far as you're concerned, you're just being attacked by a dragon.
Yeah.
That's just a thought. But my idea that I had was when we were talking about layers, and we were talking about how they
Ogres.
might, yes, exactly, how they are like ogres in that you go inside them and keep your eggs safe. We were talking about how they may use wrecked ships. The suggestion you had, Mikey, that then obviously the book reinforced.
The book stole from me.
The book did steal from you, yeah. And so what I was thinking about specifically was, it says that, you know, a bronze dragon might salvage a wrecked ship and reconstruct it. And we already know that they're organized, they're intelligent, they take interest in military matters and warfare. And so what might be kind of cool is that as part of the defenses of the lair, perhaps even as traps throughout the lair, you could incorporate naval weaponry. So depending on what kind of era your game is set in, that could be like, you know, cannons, or it could be, you know, trebuchets or catapults, maybe like lined down like thin corridors so that, you know, there's no way to get out of the way.
Or like harpoons.
Yeah, exactly. Like harpoon guns or whatever else. Like, just, I'm thinking about like, I think it would be interesting to have sort of maybe even like a mini siege as part of an adventure against a bronze dragon, where you have to like breach its lair, and its lair is built like, you know, it has a wall made up of like abandoned sea vessels that are now manned by its various minions, and they have like refurbished cannons and old repurposed like siege weaponry that was once aboard a naval vessel, and like, you know, the minions are all wielding like rusty cutlasses and that kind of thing.
Rusty cutlass.
Yeah, I do like the idea. I had this idea of pirates even kind of having this bronze dragon be kind of like an urban legend, like, tis the lord of the coast, and then these pirates like, oh, go in there, that's where the real treasure is, and then but the lord of the coast is guarding it, and then maybe you can kind of go in there and you're like, oh, there's probably a monster of some sort in there, and then you go in there with the pirates, and then they want to attack it, but then of course the bronze dragon is just a bronze dragon and might be like kind of friendly, so maybe there's kind of like an all-out battle between the two parties, and you have to maybe choose who you want to fight with, or
choose wisely, heroes.
Choose wisely, or, you know, just kind of embrace the chaos, something like that. But
let them fight it out and steal the treasure.
Steal the treasure, yeah.
Just, you know, slip in, slip out undetected. Also, in that same vein, if your bronze dragon is trying to build up some sort of reputation as some sort of weird lord of the coast, they could adopt a permanent disguise with their changed shape.
Yeah.
The ability only forcefully reverts if they are killed, so they can technically maintain the shape for an indefinite period. So that's something to consider as well. And like, they're high enough CR monsters that there's a huge variety of creatures they could pretend to be for the purposes of this kind of false legend.
I'm thinking like pretty much just like a plesiosaurus, like a Nessie, you know.
Oh, that'd be fun. Yeah.
Nice. Or they could take a humanoid form and be the captain of the ship that you're on, and he'd be like, "Oh, the lord of the coast," and he's like,
he
lead
laughs.
them into my lair, and then be like, "You've made it through all my traps. Now you can have some of my treasure."
Now you can get in my mouth.
But I was also thinking, when you mentioned that, like, they could go into the lair expecting a big fight, and they come up across this bronze dragon, and they're like, "We're here to fight you for your treasure, dragon." And you're like, "Fight? I mean, if you just give me something else, you can just have whatever you want," you know? Just like intelligence its way out of potentially fighting, because you know, if your party is confident enough to fight like an ancient or any size of bronze dragon, then they are going to be a threat to it, essentially. So it's going to maybe not want to fight them.
Yeah, it's kind of how these episodes of Metallic Dragons have been going, and probably will go. Where how we play D&D, we tend to play good characters and not really Most of the time, not really evil characters and murder hobos. So if we're DMing, we don't really have much ideas for fighting these kind of dragons because they're good creatures, and we kind of, I feel like a lot of the encounters we're going to have and do have for these guys are more like non-combat encounters, I guess. Really, with them.
Yeah, work with the dragon.
Yeah, work with them, or maybe kind of, I don't know, solve their puzzle. I don't know, something like that.
I think it's also fair to say, and this goes for perhaps both types of dragons, both metallic and chromatic, that like as we've maybe said in a slightly dismissive tones, and maybe with good reason, that like as far as their stat blocks go, they're actually not very interesting enemies. So focusing on fighting a dragon as a narrative arc is very satisfying, right? It's a classic bit of heroic fantasy.
Yeah.
Go and slay the dragon. But as far as the game of D&D is concerned, the like skirmish war game where you move little dudes on a map around a dragon, it's actually not going to be that interesting because the dragon kind of doesn't do a lot, and like players have so many actions that like a lot of what the dragon does they can just ignore, or just save against it and they're fine. And like obviously that's part of the balance of the game, but just like they don't actually do much, they don't interact with the players in many ways. And so I think overall our focus should probably be on like what's an interesting story to tell with the dragon, because the dragon isn't a good fight. There's much better monsters. If you're looking for a fun fight at CR20, there's much better monsters, probably in the spot books, especially when they start getting better at designing 5e monsters. But like the narrative impact of a dragon and the iconic nature of a dragon are kind of, they're the strengths of it, more so than its stat block. They're what we try to focus on. So I think it's fair to say like, the Matrix room is going to suck ass, like it's going to be a really boring fight, like but the story of like what we can do with this big weird lizard flying creature that's really smart and scary, like we can do more with that basically. Oh god, I just shook my whole tail.
It might be sacrilege for you to say this, but the monsters are not just the Matrix room. They're not supposed to be in the Matrix room. They're really not.
Especially not the kind of big boss characters like dragons.
No, so they're not meant to be.
Absolutely.
And I think with dragons, the stat is not the most interesting for the boss monsters out of all of them that we have in this book, like you said, Daniel. But there's something to be said about building up to like one's first dragon encounter. You really do feel it. I remember when I fought my first dragon, it was exhilarating. It was fun because I'm fighting a dragon,
Literally just the fantasy of you are fighting a dragon is really cool,
because they're these really tough monsters.
And they're like an iconic part of sort of pop culture and fantasy fiction and stuff like that. In terms of another adventure hook, actually one I just came up there that I think is kind of interesting. So we already know about dragon layers, but there's something in the Fori book that I think we could use. So it says, bronze dragons claim coastlines, inlets, and islands as their own, constructing layers in coastal caves that have access to the sea. Then it says, this part is kind of interesting, more aggressive bronze dragons purposely choose layers near shipping lanes so they can claim tribute from merchant vessels as those craft pass by.
That's cool.
So not necessarily, so that's first of all, that's actually a pretty great hook. If you're going to use the more kind of malevolent bronze dragon from Fori, that's a great hook. Just, this fucking dragon is taxing my boat. Please kill it.
Don't play the capitalist bronze dragon.
Like literally just like, if you kill it, you can have whatever it's taken and I'll probably pay you when you come back. Like that's an adventure. Literally just like, we're going to get paid, but like Venice is going to pay us a fortune if we kill this dragon. Like that's a great adventure.
Because they're just taking all their money. This dragon's taking the country's money.
It's a lot of money. Break
it down.
But like without that idea, something that I think is actually interesting about the bronze dragon, something consistent I've noticed that we don't get with other dragons, is that bronze dragons both take an interest in humans and take an interest in war. And so unlike a lot of other dragons, I think it makes sense that a bronze dragon's lair is not going to be isolated in the way that a lot of other dragons specifically have layers that are set apart. I believe in the brass dragon, it talks about how they're hidden off in the desert, and the brass dragon even makes efforts to separate its trove so that it's as hard as possible for it all to be found. We don't get anything like that with the bronze dragon, and in fact, in this section here in the 4th edition book, we learn that they specifically set themselves up to be able to claim tribute over people. In other words, they want a position of political and military power as opposed to a secluded position of safety. And so sort of setting aside the more aggressive, more like malevolent 4e dragon, if we just say a cool, nice bronze dragon, had some sort of standing arrangement with the coastal kingdom, right? They were like, I'm going to build my lair here on this island near your docks, near your coast. I'll protect you from pirates and you pay me this tribute, right? And let's assume that it was really amiable. The people liked the dragon liked the people, and everything was fine. But now the dragon is dead or dying, and it can't defend the coast anymore. And pirates are returning to the seas. And it is still, when it dies, it is leaving behind a fortress, an almost impenetrable fortress full of treasure. So who do you think wants that?
Oh boy.
Like everyone.
Yeah.
Everybody wants it. The people who were once allies with the dragon definitely want it because it defends their coast. The enemies of that nation definitely want it. The pirates are going to want it because they know how much of a pain in the ass it is. The party might even want it. Fuck it. Like, you know, maybe they're hired by someone else. Maybe they're self-motivated. They go, Jesus, that seems like a fucking great idea. Why don't we take it? Like, like just the idea of like, as opposed to the lair as sort of the isolated magical location, which it often is, the lair as the sort of military location where like it's this fucking, you know, centuries old stone fortress carved from, you know, hewn from sea rock, like bristling with sunken ships and like, you know, these ageless cannons that face out into the ocean for miles around, you know, massive spotlights that burn with ever burning flames so that you can't escape its sight. And it's just like, yeah, it's fucking, it's a really good fortress, and it's very important. And the person who has defended it for generations is just dying. Maybe you could incorporate a larger plot about how the dragon is dying, but I mean, it says dragons do eventually die of old age.
Yeah.
They have such long lifespans that it's almost like, you know, I think they live to be like millennia old. But that makes it even more interesting. It's literally the change of an age for these people.
I left it there in one piece.
I mean, basically, yeah. Except everyone knows what the One Piece is.
Yeah, it's a bit different.
That is really cool. That's
I like
great
that,
motivation
yeah. And
for like a larger scale, like worldly campaign of like political interest and selfish interest
Yeah, exactly,
clashing
like-
with like greed and like altruism for like, oh, we can return this stuff to the people who had it originally or whatever. But then there's going to be like, if there are people who want to like give it back, they're going to have to like fiddle around with all kinds of like weird histories. But then the more greedy people will just be like, we just want the fucking treasures, man. You know,
Yeah.
you could make it as political or apolitical as you like.
I'm thinking of like,
Great, Daniel.
it's just giving me the idea of, and we probably should have come up with this for like in the other Dragon episodes as well, but like the political impact and ramifications of having a dragon's horde. Like what happens when you get that?
Absolutely.
Like what happens when a party of people, what happens when they get that? Like if a nation get that, or just a group of pirates get that, or like what will happen after that, you know? Of course, the player characters and adventurers will just like blow it on magic items and like
1+3 sword that some guy has and is going to charge you that much money for, despite the fact that it has literally no sale value because it's like it's about 3 times better than a normal sword. Is it better than like, I don't know, 7 dudes with swords? No, it's much worse than 7 dudes with swords.
maybe a castle on a hill, but like that's it.
Yeah.
Just to throw the money into. But it's just really
only a
interesting of what
7 men with swords with the bless spell cast on them is more powerful than this +3 sword.
I know, right?
But I will charge you all of your money for it.
kind of defeat Tiamat though.
No.
Oh,
I like that because if the dragon's dying and all these different people are going for either the lair or the treasures inside, and it's probably, if it's an ancient dragon, this goes for every kind of dragon now. So I'll just, it's not just bronze dragon, but it's coming to my head now. But really, what happens when someone gets that? What happens when a nation gets that? Everyone wants to go for it.
And also, I think what's interesting is that even though I've said the dragon is dying, a cool thing about this adventure, if anyone listening is interested in running it, or if we're interested in running it, don't lead with that. Don't lead with the dragon dying.
Yeah.
Just have this place that is supposed to have peaceful waters and you get attacked by pirates. People go, that's weird. The bronze dragon is supposed to protect us from pirates. And maybe that goes up the line and someone asks you to investigate or to bear a message to the bronze dragon, and the party find out. And maybe then the question becomes, did the party tell people that the bronze dragon is dying?
Yeah.
Do they keep it to themselves? You know, maybe the bronze dragon, like I'm assuming that the bronze dragon by this stage may well have minions under it, perhaps even sort of like a knightly order of some kind of soldiery under it. And so maybe they ask you not to tell anyone and maybe work for them while they try to sort this out. But yeah, it just as a heads up, like as an interest, rather than just saying like, this is what's going on, sort of the bronze dragon is dying, but not everyone knows yet. And maybe that people find out during the adventure, and that's what kind of begins to move people. That could be interesting as well.
It's fun. It's very
That's
good.
a really, really cool idea.
I like that. Shall we leave it there? And
I think so.
it's a good place to end it. I say that at the end of every dragon episode, we will go into dragons generally more at the end of the dragon series. We're going to do a follow-up conclusion episode of dragons where we will put a lot more ideas in there. So if you have any ideas or any like feedback on whatever your favorite dragon is after we've talked about it, send it to us now, and we will probably respond to it when the episode comes out.
Where can they send that to us, Mikey?
They can send it to us in a lot of different places. We have www.creatureclubpodcast.com, where we have a handy contact us form where you just put in your name and you put in your comment, and bam, you got it there. So you can leave us whatever. If you want to say like the podcast, leave it there. If you want to say, oh, I have this idea on a monster you have talked about, put it there. We love hearing stuff like that, because a lot of you guys have a lot of cool ideas with monsters and stuff that we have never would have thought about at all. So I love hearing that stuff. It's great stuff. It's very Creature Club. It's very just going outside the box. And
It is, yeah.
yeah. You can also send us an email if you so wish to creatureclubpodcast@gmail.com. Is that it?
Yeah, that is it.
creatureclubpodcast@gmail.com. You can just send it to us straight from there and all that stuff. Also, if you want to just comment and send us shorthand stuff, or if you prefer to use Twitter, we're at Creature Club Pod, or if you just look up Creature Club Podcast, we're on Twitter right there. Few stuff as well. All that stuff. Tim, you usually read out a review, right, when the three of us is here, right?
Yes,
because
I do indeed.
There's one here that I've read myself, and I really like it. It's. Would you like to read it yourself?
I will indeed. This is a very glistening review that we got quite recently from.
You're right there, Dan.
It's a delightful fan.
I think you mean glittering.
No, it doesn't. It's beautiful.
Oh no. It's just been birthed by iTunes.
Sorry, I'm having another glass of wine, guys. I was holding out for the entire episode.
Oh, that sounds like a great idea. I was having myself a nice Brewdog Pale Ale.
Oh, nice.
Ooh,
Not sponsored by Brewdog.
A 4-pack is £8 in Tesco, and that's the reason I'm buying them.
Woo. So the review that we got came from Apple Podcasts in the United States of America. A user named Jorolano posted a 5-star review. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
The title is Wonderful, Hilarious, and Weird. And wonderful, hilarious, and weird. All traits desirable.
It's very weird.
It's Willis Wadwick.
I thought you said like wheel, like
wheel,
as if you meant to read real and then like misspoke.
Yeah, no, I completely butchered the word weird.
Wheel and woe.
Wheel and woe.
Wheel and woe.
Wonderful, hilarious, and weird. All traits desirable in D&D and life.
Wow, I like that.
Fair.
They said, I've been listening to Creature Club for the past 2 years or so, and it has been a joy to have Mikey, Tim, and Daniel accompany me on my commutes. I've learned a plethora of interesting information about creatures in Dungeons & Dragons up to the beginning of the most recent episode, Dragons. The information presented has helped me be a better DM for my players, and engagement has noticeably increased since supplementing my standard monster manual knowledge with these boys' lectures.
Wow,
lectures.
that is
Wow,
Here's my
feel
PhD.
like I've just been promoted.
First of all, that is very nice to say and very nice to hear.
Yeah,
So, there's more.
Most importantly, we're very glad to hear that you feel like your game's improved and that people are having a good time, because that's all we want.
Yeah,
really.
we just want to help you in a game.
But also,
Second of all, lectures. I love that, because that's
yeah, I feel really flattered.
That is every podcast where it's just a white man lecturing you about something.
Oh, jeez.
A man explains the thing to you.
Yeah.
All right.
The review continues. Their endearing banter, and subtle, sometimes not so subtle, Irish spin on subjects just makes the whole podcast a pleasure to listen to. Perhaps my favorite thing they do is when they substitute the subject noun with the word boy or boys. Example. These are just some slashy stabby boys.
Oh yeah,
it makes me giggle. That is absolutely. I think I said something like that on stream recently as well, where I was like, "Is this a slashy boy?"
Yeah. It makes me giggle every time they do it, and I love it. I don't know if that's just an Irish colloquialism, me having never left the USA or specific to this group of friends. Either way, It is golden.
I think I'm pretty sure it is just what we say. We just say boy.
Yeah.
like that.
I think if we're being totally honest, if we're revealing our hand,
Reveal it down.
it's probably
McElroys.
stolen from the McElroy brothers.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, everything they say has been memed into like the general lexicon for kind of nerdiness. So yeah.
I do also think, I do honestly suspect we have a predilection towards it, because I think Quest Boys predated all of our McElroy exposure.
Yeah. Or the beginning of it did. I think there were a couple of references to it during.
It went on for a while, but I just mean like as in when the name Quest Boys came up.
Yeah.
I think in some ways I think since then we've had a predilection with X Boys.
Yeah. So the review continues. Despite being subscribed to the podcast and following them on Twitter, which I admittedly don't frequent enough, I look weekly for the...
That's fine, Twitter's...
Yeah, don't go on Twitter, man. Twitter's terrible.
Please don't go on Twitter just for us.
It's a terrible website. Follow us on Twitter, guys.
I look weekly for updates.
Mixed messages.
At Creature Club Pod.
At Creature Club Pod.
I look weekly for updates and download them instantly so that I don't miss any of the fun. If you are a DM or storyteller and you would like top quality advice and information about monsters and their applications, this, all caps this with an exclamation point, is a podcast for you. 5 trillion stars aren't enough. Subscribe today and share, my fellow geeks. So that is a shining review. That is
Jorlano. A glistening review.
That is a glimmering, fantastic review. A
glinting review.
That makes me very happy. That is an excellent review.
Yeah,
that was wonderful. Some truly, truly kind words. Yeah. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
That does really
Joe
mean
Rolano.
Lano.
Yeah, there we go. Joe Rolano. Thank you so much for the review. That was very nice of you. We are glad that we help out in your games and just make you happy as well. Because
and that you've got something to listen to on your commute, because that's important to me too.
We hope that these Dragon episodes haven't been all the same.
Too much of a drag. Yeah. This one came out. It's on the 6th of March. So it's a little while ago. I think that they mentioned that the most recent episode was dragons. Yeah. So hopefully they haven't given up on us.
And it's like, we're just going to see another review, just like update 1 star.
1 star.
Update 1 star still on Dragon.
Still on Dragon.
It's all the same. So there you go. Yeah. If you want to review, you can leave us a review on iTunes, or you can also leave a review on Stitcher. Stitcher's the name of the other podcast. Stitcher, I don't think we have any reviews through there yet, but you are perfectly welcome to be the first, and we will read it out quite confidently on stream for you.
Quite
give you a little shout out.
Yeah, on stream. Yeah. On actually.
On air.
Speaking of stream, because it's kind of relevant right now, and we're doing it. We mentioned in the other episodes, but myself and Tim are both doing separate streams to just for ourselves for the crack. Tim himself is likes to play a bit of Rocksmith, a bit of for people who don't know, it's a bit like Guitar Hero, but he uses an actual guitar and he's playing the actual music, and he's graded on how he plays it. And he's a very good guitar player, and he has a bunch of songs. Hop into the chat there,
and a good bass player.
Request some songs, just chill out with us. You'll see myself and Daniel there as mods, talking shite and just requesting songs.
Literally talking shite. Like, Belter man, turn it off. Like old boys at the back of a bar. Like
Shrek also frequents the stream, so you know.
You might see Shrek. So you're going to want to follow Timothus Music. That's Timothus Music Twitch. So. Is it twitch.tv/Timothus Music? Probably.
It certainly is.
I believe so.
And if you follow us on Twitter, then you'll find it there. Myself, I have been doing streams as well, and they've been very fun. And I've been doing Zelda. I've been doing a bit of Fire Emblem. I plan to do a lot more video games, and it's just been a great ride, and it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's been great crack. You got raided by someone, so now we have a bunch of cool strangers in chat who we get on very well.
A bunch.
That's fun.
I knew that the same amount of people would never show up again, or not never, but they wouldn't show up again. But having like a nice good amount of the same people showing up has been very fun to see.
I know what you mean, yeah. And there's great stuff like, we're continuing a conversation. So like, at the start of the day you were like on Discord being like, anyone have any good recipes because I'm on dinner duty this week, and I gave you some ideas. And then later on, like during the stream, you mentioned you had a slow cooker, and I said, oh, you've got a slow cooker, here's some more recipes. But like then like one of the other like people in the chat was just like, that's a fucking great recipe, I'm gonna steal that. And I was like, that's great. Like so like literally talking shite. So like absolutely.
If you want to hop on to one of our streams, either Timothy's Music or me at Mike Ted Lime, that's TEH, Mike Ted Lime, like the fruit, like whatever, the citrus. Join in, follow us, and just talk to us about Creature Club. Say that you listen to Creature Club, and we will talk to you about D&D there. Or if you just want to hang out and play some music and games with us, then that's cool too.
Yeah, if you want to see us in person reacting to your comment and like see us physically talking, then that's a fun way to do it.
Yes. And Daniel, do you have anything to shamelessly plug, to promote?
I actually don't. I don't know.
Check out Daniel's SoundCloud. He's
I actually don't know if I have a SoundCloud. If you're no, I've got nothing.
Yeah, right. Check out Daniel's MySpace. His
do,
Foursquare.
If you can find my MySpace, please let me know.
Because you'll delete it.
I've lost it because I will destroy it. Yeah, I will
cast it into the fire, destroy it.
A seal door.
No, actually, what I'm going to shout out is stretches, because I am stuck in the house all day because I'm working from home. And I think, Mikey, you're feeling it a bit as well. So do some stretches, because if you are a taller gentleman like myself, your back will appreciate it. Yes. Obviously, depending on what kind of body type you have, you will need to do different kinds of stretches. So just do a couple of different ones.
Ivy and I, my wife and I, have been... we've been playing a lot of Minecraft recently together, and
cool.
We started doing a thing where we got so uncomfortable like the first 2 times that we played it together. We were like, we need to do something about like moving every once in a while. So I have a timer that I set on my phone for every 30 minutes, and we stand up and stretch or do like press ups or like squats, because we've also been eating too much food while doing literally nothing.
Same.
We put on a solid extra 5 to 10 pounds over the course of the quarantine.
Oh God, I haven't weighed myself in a while. I don't think
it's been a while. Yeah, I don't know if I do either.
Start going for a run or something. There you go. Or like I'll start going with the gym with you, Dan, because that was the thing you guys were doing before D&D games.
Allowed back out.
Social distancing gym.
Yeah. Whenever those open again.
I think that'd be great, because I want to get back to the gym, and fucking hell, even just to get back to my previous point is going to be like oof. But anyway,
we're just chatting now.
But so I'm gonna shout out, just looking after yourself. Do some stretches,
bit of exercise.
There's lots of great practice social distancing. If you are looking for like a guide, because you're like, I don't want to just stretch, that's totally fine. I absolutely understand that. I have the joy of my partner is a fitness instructor, so I just ask her for stretches. But if you don't have that, which is a very normal thing, there is a very good YouTuber called Yoga with Adrian. And she does a lot of great beginner classes, especially. And those are great if you have no familiarity with yoga. Okay. You just need like your bare feet and a bit of a rug under you, and you should be fine.
I'll check that out. Actually, myself, I think that's a good idea.
It's just, it's because it's something that's bothering me. And I'm like, fucking hell, I should just tell people, like, look after yourself.
I've attempted the 30-day yoga for beginners thing twice and failed within like 5 days both times. But she has like a 30-day like yoga for 30 days. That's a handy one. Some of them get pretty intense, and you feel like a good burn, which is like nice. Like yoga is like surprisingly exercising. Anyway, this is
anyone seen any movies or anything? Anyone just...
But yes. But yes, that is a good shout out.
I guess I'll also say I've been watching Studio Ghibli because it came out on Netflix, and lads, there is so much joy in those movies. If you're looking for something like that, they're fantastic.
Good movies.
I've also watched a documentary series called Salt, Acid, Fat and Heat, or Salt, Fat, Acid and Heat, which is just about a woman who's a really fun, bubbly cook who goes all over the world and talks to people and talks about like the basics of cooking. And it's totally right up my alley, because it's about cooking and science.
Cool.
But yeah, it's like a 4-part documentary. Each episode's like 40 minutes, and they're all really fun and joyful, and like everywhere they go looks so beautiful that you're like, God, I wish I could go there. Like the whole first episode, she's on this like part of the Italian coast, and it's just gorgeous. I'm like, why haven't I gone to Italy?
Yeah, man, food's good there.
I love Lovely. That's a great recommendation.
I actually, I had a really good time watching it, and I would actually recommend it.
I ordered some jeans 2 days ago.
Ooh,
and they arrived today.
that's exciting.
Interesting. We're reaching feature length movie here. So,
Yes, we are.
Okay.
folks, thank you so much for listening to Creature Club.
If you've, how much of this is staying?
It's all staying
in. I don't know. Okay, it's all
Everything.
staying.
No, I don't know. It's up.
I think it might be good if a lot of this is post credits, so that people know your D&D podcast has ended. You can stand up and leave if you want.
You can go. All right, folks. Thank you so much for listening to Creature Club podcast. Next week we'll be talking about the next dragon. And that's it. So join us next time. Thank you so much. I have been Mikey.
I've been Tim.
And I've been Dave.
Stay cool. Maybe, I don't know, Tim can go in after that. And then, I don't know, other Tim. And then, and then maybe Daniel. I shall read. Bronze dragons are coastal dwellers that...
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I think
It's
it
all
was
right.
just the fact. It was just the fact that, like, I actually thought it sounded fine. Like, I was like, yeah, bronze dragons, but obviously you were like, no, that was wrong, and started over. And just the shortness of the retake was just. I'm sorry.
I'm
Please
happy
continue.
that I make you laugh, Daniel, because
You actually do. You're a very funny man.
there's been times where I edit this podcast and then just by hearing your laugh, it makes me laugh. You know, it's kind of a contagious laugh.
Yeah,
and
it's
you
great.
just, it's very good. It's very like, I'm only laughing because you're laughing, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, I hope our listeners find the same thing. I do find that sometimes as well. That like, if we start laughing at something, I'm just laughing. Like, I'm laughing at the memory of us laughing about it.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Like the last episode or something, I think we were just giggly about something, and I was trying to read, and then you just kept giggling at me, and then I kept giggling. This was bad.
Yeah,
It was.
we were very giggly that episode.
Yeah. Anyway,
Anyway,
let's be serious now, okay?
yes, of course. I'm so sorry. Who's bringing the episode in?
I think we should all try to simultaneously.
All right. 3,
I'm really
2,
feeling a chaotic energy tonight.
1, go.
Okay.
Hello,
wait,
hello,
wait.
and welcome to Creature Club.
Creature Club.
It's a
podcast where
it's
So,
a podcast
it's a
about
podcast all
monsters.
about the
Dungeons
monsters
and
of
Dragons.
Dungeons and
Today
Dragons.
I can't
we're
do
gonna
it.
be
I
talking
can't
every
stop.
week we
Stop.
take,
Please stop.
I am joined by.
Stop. I'm dying here. Detect. A magic makes a wisdom perception check. Tail attack.
A magic.
A magic.
Yeah, you said a magic makes a wisdom perception check.
I did
You
say
want to
that.
Take
I
line,
very
Tim?
much actually did say that. He's a magic. He's a magic.
A magic makes a tail attack. Sorry, what's
A
happening?
magic makes a tail attack. Oh God.
What are we doing?
We have named this dragon.
I think I've
His
had
name
a
is
stroke.
Magic.
Magic Johnson. Okay. Let's try that again, all right?
Welcome to the end of the episode.
These
Fucking hell. Okay. Hi, welcome to Creature Club. Wait. Sorry.
can we just start the entire episode over again? Can we just do that? Hey guys, welcome to Creature Club. We're talking about dragons.
Hey guys,
Hey guys, let me just I'll be real with you right now.
I'm gonna sit on this chair backwards. Give me a second.
All right. These are the same 3 legendary actions, guys, as before.
Section 3. Yeah, sounds good.
Section 3. Excerpt 1 for
Section-
the first time.
A throw. that was very good.
Thank you.
We're going to give people fucking nightmares, though. Even
Yeah.
Oh, God, yeah. Flashbacks.
Ah,
Those
No.
Quest boys, or those Creature Club boys, how could they do this to me?